4 days ago, the Destiny 2 beta was released, and for most Destiny 1 players, the excitement was through the roof when they got to get their hands on the game that had been teased for quite some time. But being a Destiny 1 fan myself, I wasn't even remotely thrilled to see the new game be released as a beta. Why? Well, my love for the original Destiny game was immense. Destiny 1 had become my favorite game of almost all time very fast. I love the complexity, story, seemingly endless activities, and the skill for the intense PvP that was required. That being said, my dread of the new Destiny, the one that was going to replace and change the game that I loved, made me not want to look at any pictures, videos, or trailers of Destiny 2. So when my brother told me that 4 days ago the Destiny 2 beta was going to be released, I went into it blindly with almost no knowledge of what to expect. But still, if a game was going to replace my favorite game of all time, I had to see if it was good enough to do so. Since I went in blind, I was shocked when I first opened the beta and began playing. It was really fun. I was extremely impressed that although it's a new game with many changes and a different feel from the original game, it was still Destiny. This is my uninformed first impression review of the Destiny 2 beta. Also, I know this is pretty late and anyone who sees this probably already knows a lot about the beta by now, but I really wanted to make this review as in-depth and high quality as possible. Let's start with the characters. Although the characters physically stay the same, there's quite a bit that has been changed about the subclasses for each character. The three characters are still Titan, Hunter, and Warlock, and I'm going to break down each of their subclasses for you. First, I'll start with the Hunter, because that was the character I chose and have the most experience with. The Hunter's two subclasses are Gunslinger and Arcstrider. Gunslinger's grenades are Trip Mine Grenade, an explosive grenade that sticks to surfaces and detonates upon enemies who pass through its laser. Swarm Grenade, a grenade that detonates on impact, releasing multiple drones that seek nearby enemies. Incendiary Grenade, a grenade whose explosion catches enemies on fire, which all of them bind to LB. Golden Gun is the super, summoning a flaming pistol that disintegrates enemies with solar light. The jumps are triple jump, while airborne sustain your control with a second or third jump. Strafe jump, while airborne jump a second time with strong directional control. High jump, while airborne jump a second time to reach greater heights. These all bind to A. Gambler's Dodge. Press B twice to perform a death tumble, avoiding enemy attacks, dodging nearby enemies, fully recharge your melee ability. Marksman's Dodge. Dodge to perform an evasive maneuver with a steady hand. Dodging automatically reloads your weapon. And some of the perks of the Gunslinger are Explosive Knife, throw a knife from a distance that explodes shortly after impact with this melee ability. 6-shooter, Golden Gun can be fired quickly up to 6 times but has a shorter duration. Deadshot, significantly improves your ability to hit with Golden Gun. Chains of Woe, precision kills increase weapon reload speed for you and nearby allies. The Gunslinger class seems to be exactly the same as it was in Destiny 1, same grenades, same abilities, except for one change that is for both classes, the ability to shade step, or dodge as they call it in the game. The Hunter's next subclass is a lot more different than its predecessor, Blade Dancer. The Arcstrider subclass is just a little bit different. The grenades are the same, as well as the feel of the subclass, but one thing that is different is that the super uses a staff instead of 2 blades. Which is interesting because I don't quite understand the significance of that small change or how it affects the gameplay style of the Blade Dancer class, but maybe they just felt the need to slightly change it since each class has at least one subclass that is different and one subclass that has stayed the same. The super is Arc Staff, form a staff of pure arc energy and acrobatically take out your foes. And for the abilities, we have Combination Blow, kill an enemy with this melee ability to trigger health regeneration and increase your melee damage temporarily. Lethal Current, after dodging, each arc staff hit creates a damaging lightning aftershock. Deadly Reach, dodging increases your melee range, allowing you to lunge further to strike enemies. Combat Flow, melee kills recharge your dodge ability. Next class is the Warlock class. The two Warlock subclasses are Voidwalker and Dawnblade. Voidwalker is essentially the same. It has Scatter Grenade, a grenade that splits into many sub-munitions and covers a large area with multiple explosions. Axion Bolt, a bolt of void light that forks into smaller bolts on impact that seek out enemies. Vortex Grenade, a grenade that creates a vortex which continually damages enemies trapped inside. The super is Nova Bomb, which you hurl an explosive bolt of void light at the enemy, disintegrating those caught within its blast. For the Warlock's Glide, we have Burst Glide, jump all airborne to activate Glide, and start an airborne drift with strong initial boost of speed. Blink, jump all airborne to teleport a short distance, Everyone knows that one. And Strafe Glide. Jump while airborne to activate Glide and start an airborne drift with strong directional control. For the Warlock's abilities, you have Entropic Pool. Strike an enemy with this melee ability to drain your enemy's life force and use it to recharge your grenade. We have Cataclysm. Nova Bomb travels slowly and seeks enemies. Detonation shatter into smaller seeker projectiles. Fire weapon at the Nova Bomb to detonate it early. We have Bloom. Void abilities cause enemies to explode. We have Chaos Accelerant. Hold LB to draw power from your super to overcharge a grenade, making it deadlier and more effective. The Dawnblade subclass is the different one. You have Fusion Grenade, an explosive grenade that deals bonus damage when it attaches to a target. Firebolt Grenade, a grenade that unleashes bolts of solar light at nearby enemies. Solar Grenade, a grenade that causes a flare of solar light that continuously damages enemies trapped inside. For the super, you have Daybreak. Weave solar light into blades and smite your foes from the skies. For the glide, you have Balance Glide. Jump while airborne to activate Glide and start an airborne drift with both moderate speed and directional control. Burst Glide. Jump while airborne to activate Glide and start an airborne drift with a strong initial boost of speed. And Strafe Glide. Jump while airborne to activate Glide and start an airborne drift with strong directional control. For Dawnblade's abilities, you have Swift Strike. Strike an enemy with this melee ability to burn your target and temporarily increase your movement and reload speed. Icarus Dash. Press B twice while midair to dodge. Heat Rises. Airborne kills recharge a grenade and melee energy. Casting Daybreak instantly refills all of your ability energy. And Wing Sun. Engage your enemies mid-flight, fire weapons, and throw grenades while gliding. Here we have Empowering Rift. Press and hold B to conjure a well of light that increases weapon damage for those inside of it. Healing Rift. Press and hold B to conjure a well of light that continually heals those inside of it. Besides the fact that Sunsinger was turned into a more offensive super, now wielding flaming swords of solar light instead of the virtually infinite grenades, instant-kill melee, and the ability to cheat death and bring yourself back to life, yeah, it was OP. Anyways, besides that major change for the subclass, you are also able to dodge like a hunter but while in midair. It's called the Icarus Dash. Sorry, I don't have any footage of that. I was really trying to get some, but I'm just kidding. You know I wouldn't do that to you guys. Of course I have footage of the Icarus Dash. It's exactly like the ability given to the Titan in Destiny 1 when the player had the Twilight Garrison chest piece equipped, except it's built into the Warlock's Dawnblade subclass. Both subclasses have the Rift skill. This allows the Warlock to either cast a field of light that regenerates the player and anyone around it, or it increases the weapon damage of the player and any team members around it. The final character is the Titan. The first subclass is the Striker subclass. For grenades, we have Lightning Grenade, a grenade that sticks to any surface and emits bolts of lightning. Pulse Grenade, a grenade that periodically damages enemies inside its explosion radius. And Flashbang Grenade, an explosive grenade that disorients enemies it damages. The super is Fists of Havoc. Supercharge your fists and slam into the ground with the force of a maelstrom. Now, just to be clear, there are multiple times that you can do this within using the super. It's not just one like you could do in Destiny 1, it's multiple times. For Lift, we have Catapult Lift. Jump while airborne to activate Lift and launch into the air with a strong initial boost of momentum. We have Strafe Lift. Jump while airborne to activate Lift and launch into the air with strong directional control. And we have High Lift. Jump while airborne to activate Lift and launch into the air to greater heights. This ability is called Barricade. We have Rally Barricade. Press and hold B to create a small barrier that allows you to peek over it while aiming down sights, and which instantly reloads your equipped weapon when you take cover. This one is Towering Barricade. Press and hold B to create a large barrier that could be used to reinforce a position with cover from enemy fire. For Striker's abilities, we have Seismic Strike. While sprinting, activate this melee ability to slam shoulder first into your target and release an arc explosion on impact. We have Terminal Velocity. Fist of Havoc's ground slam attack leaves a damage-dealing field in its wake and deals more damage the longer it's in the air. Magnitude. Gain an additional grenade charge. Increases the duration of grenade effects. And lastly, we have Aftershocks. Damaging enemies with Seismic Strike recharges your grenade. The Defender class, or Sentinel class, is probably the most different subclass than all the other subclasses. For our grenades, we have Suppressor Grenade, an explosive grenade that prevents enemies from using abilities for a short time. We have Void Wall Grenade, a grenade that creates a horizontal wall of burning void light. And we have Magnetic Grenade, a grenade that attaches to enemies and explodes twice. All of these are the same as before for the Defender subclass. For Lift, we have Catapult Lift, Strafe Lift, and High Lift, which are all the same as previously stated with the Striker subclass, as is the Rally Barricade. The most obvious differences lie in the Super and all the subclass abilities. Let's start with the Super. The new Super is called Sentinel Shield. When you use this Super, you essentially create a shield using Void Light that you are able to attack with, guard with, and throw while Sentinel Shield is active. But this is where the abilities really come into play. While your Super is charged, the Ward of Dawn ability allows you to summon the Shield Dome, yes the same one from Defender class in Destiny 1, by holding down on both triggers, and that means that the Sentinel class has 2 super abilities. One thing I want to note about the abilities for this subclass is that they all cater towards helping the entire team. Defensive Strike allows you to create an overshield around you and all of your allies by killing an enemy with your melee. In Destiny 1, the ability only allowed you to create an overshield around yourself. Turn the Tide automatically causes your Defensive Strike overshield to last longer. And Rallying Force restores health for you and your nearby allies when you kill someone with your melee ability. One more interesting thing that I wanted to point out is that in the bottom right corner of each subclass there is some sort of ability tree that it seems to require upgrade points to equip. There's no way of knowing what these upgrade points really are or how to get them, but I assume that they're basically exotic shards since the picture next to upgrade point looks like an exotic shard. You get them by dismantling your exotic weapons and armor, but again, that's just an assumption. Next, I'd like to talk about the story. Now, the opening story for Destiny 2 is actually really well written and interesting. It's fun to play, you get to interact with each of the Vanguard leaders, Cayde 6, Zavala, and Ikora Rey, each doing something different during the battle, and it all takes place at home, in the last city on Earth. The story starts with a tower, along with all the Guardians there being ambushed by a branch of Cabal called the Red Legion. Before anyone can prepare for the attack, they are quickly rampaging the city and seizing the Traveler. Your character is coming back from space after doing God knows what, and your ghost can't seem to get a hold of anyone at the tower. Your ghost freaks out and you guys race back to the tower to see what the hell is going on. When you get there, everything around you is destroyed, set on fire, or both. Zavala, Cayde, and Ikora manage to barely get a hold of you and direct you to fight your way through the invasion and help stop the attack. First, you run into Cayde, who gets you into the tower with everyone else, then leaves to go kick some Cabal butt. Once you're inside, you meet up with Lord Shaxx and he's all like, "This armory is open to you, Hunter. Go get him." Or something like that, I don't know. And he lets you into his little armory with some pew-pews, which is where you get your class-specific exotic weapon. Hunters get a hand cannon called the Sunshot, Warlocks get a weapon called Risk Runner, and the Titans receive one called Sweet Business. Now, I don't know if there was any reasoning behind why each class was given that specific weapon, but I'm pretty sure Bungie just wanted us to check them out and get excited for the release of the actual game. Anyways, you continue to push through the inner layers of the tower, making your way up and fighting some Red Legion jerks along the way. When you finally make it to the surface, you are greeted with a premium view of the Traveler getting completely taken over. I mean, seriously, the ship just beeline straight for the Traveler and it just sat there and did nothing. When you're at the surface, you meet up with Zavala in that marketplace, I guess you can call it. I mean, I really don't remember what it was called, but I'll just call it the market for the sake of the video. So you're in the market with Zavala and some other player that's usually dead when you get there, and you're all being bombarded by Red Legion soldiers who rain from the sky in flaming balls of pure fury. They start shooting at you, you start shooting at them, and Zavala just sits there behind a rock doing absolutely nothing, and you just look at him like, dude, really? The only time he comes out to help is when the Red Legion mothership shoots missiles at you and he's like, "Take cover in my bubble." So you run to the bubble so you don't die from the missiles, which somehow happens to one of you anyways. After you fight off a few rounds of Red Legion in the market, Ikora talks to you guys and says that the speaker hasn't been evacuated yet. Zavala tells you he has it, which I doubt because he's been hiding the whole time, but okay. So he tells you that he has the marketplace covered and to go meet up with Ikora to find the speaker. You then have to run down towards the speaker's little area and wait for this giant door to open in order to get there. It's actually really cool because this robot is there sweeping like always, and he's just whistling while there's chaos all around and he's super chill, like, I don't get paid to worry. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Anyway, the door opens and Ikora obliterates these Red Legion soldiers that are just standing there with a Nova Bomb. Then she freaks out and goes ballistic when the speaker's entire layer is gone. Like the whole thing is not there anymore. Gone. Ikora turns around and not 10 seconds after the last Nova Bomb, she throws another one. I mean, I have never in my 2 years of playing Destiny seen a single Guardian get 2 supers that fast. It was crazy. Then the door that Zura's creepy self is always standing by opens as you have to walk through that area to get to some garden you've never seen before. And there's this big dude with a cool shield around him trying to kill you, and he's honestly pretty easy to kill. So once you kill him, Zavala had told you that Amanda Holiday was on her way to get you, and she picks you up to take you to the main ship that seems to be the center of the invasion. She pulls some Tokyo Drift action and drops you off. Once you're on the ship, you run inside, shoot some more fatheads, and grab the schematics of the ship. Your ghost locates the generator in the ship, and you have to make your way there while, wait for it, that's right, fighting more fatheads. You try to sneak in, realize you can't, blow some guys up, scare one of them, and run until you make your way outside. Once outside, you get a lovely hello from a really big soldier and also kill him pretty fast. I'm telling you guys, the fusion rifle is the future. Finally, you kill some more bad guys and jump down to a platform that's near the generator. You get close to the door and it opens to, surprise, another really angry dude with a gun. Then, you shoot some people, completely whiff your Nova Bomb, get killed, feel embarrassed, miss some shots, and kill everyone else in the room. And at last, you reach the generator. When you reach the generator, your ghost tells you to shoot the exhaust turbines, so you do. When you're done with that, you try to contact the Vanguard leaders once again, but they don't answer, so you just carry on, making your way outside, hoping that someone will be there to pick you up, but they're not. And when the door opens, the biggest fathead is out there waiting for you, the leader of the Red Legion. I don't know his name, so don't ask. I guess he's some Bond villain or something, because he pretty much tells you everything right there, like why he's there, why he's mad, why he's better, you know, typical bad guy stuff. And then he takes away your light and straight 300s you. Real crazy stuff. And that's pretty much the end of the story, guys. That's it. I feel like it was well written, it made a lot of sense, and I feel like it left you with a few more questions than answers, which is always a good thing. And honestly, I can't wait for Destiny 2 to come out so I can beat the whole story mode. Alright, enough funny business, let's talk inventory. The first thing you notice when you open your inventory is that everything is different. The only thing that's the same is where the guns, armor, and subclasses are all located. One of the things you'll notice is different is the addition of clan banners in the bottom right corner of the inventory. The description tells us to visit Hawthorne. I don't believe you've been introduced to Hawthorne yet, so I anticipate that when the full game is released, we will meet Hawthorne and be able to join clans. Another addition is Legendary Shards. Legendary Shards seem to be the legendary version of exotic shards, which can be used to upgrade your gear. Addition number 3 to the first subscreen is the use of the words resilience and mobility. This isn't really a big change or anything, I just found it interesting. Also, light is now called power, armor. This is where it gets interesting. Each armor piece comes with stats, a description of the main perk function accessible from the main inventory screen. They also allow you to go to the details of the armor piece by pressing Y. The interesting part is when you go into the details menu. In the details menu there are 4 parts. The armor perks, which only contain 2 interchangeable traits and an intrinsic trait for now. And then there are the armor mods, which consist of legendary infusions, which consumes the power of another legendary item. Then there's the armor mod, which are modifications to the armor piece, and there's the shader mod, which allows you to change the theme of your armor piece. Each of these parts comes with 14 available slots to use, and lastly in the bottom right corner you can see the traits of the armor, which can change in real time when you switch the traits. You can also see how much defense you currently have. Moving on to guns. Each gun comes with some of the same features as the armor pieces in the main inventory screen. The details menu has a lot more to offer though. The only mods the primary weapons have is the legendary infusions and the shader mods. The traits and attack menu in the corner, however, is also there. Secondary and power weapons have all 3 mods though, the third being the damage archetype it has. In the traits menu there are some minor differences from Destiny that stood out to me when I first saw them. There are new sections called handling and rounds per minute. I have no real understanding of what handling is, but if I was to guess, I'd have to say that handling is how fast you can switch your weapons. Rounds per minute, however, is the rate of fire for the weapon. I like that feature because now you have a tangible number instead of a bar that can tell you how fast your gun fires, which is pretty neat. Next, we have weapon perks. This section has, just like the armor piece, an intrinsic perk. It also has 3 columns designated to sights, magazine, and a legendary trait. The sight trait has the possibility to change the impact, range, stability, handling, and or reload speed. The magazine trait has the possibility to change the rounds per minute and the magazine size, and they only have 1 legendary trait that can't be changed. The ghost literally just has 2 random perks and a shader mod, so yeah, that's pretty much it. With inventory out of the way, we have the Director. The Director has two sections. There's the Destination section and the Roster section, which you can move between by pressing the bumpers. The Destination section has 3 parts to select from, or 3 destinations. The first is Quick Play. Quick Play is the control game mode from Destiny 1 and is played on the map Endless Vale. Next, you have the Strike. When you select this, you and 2 other players, fire team or random, are sent to a new planet called Nessus. The description says, "The Cabal awoke something deep beneath the surface of Nessus. Follow them and put it into their plans." Lastly, you have the Competitive playlist. This game mode is basically search and destroy and takes place on the Midtown map. The Roster section is essentially a place where you can see the players in your current game, your friends that are online, and any clan members that are also online. You can also change your fireteam privacy preference to public, clan and friends only, invite only, or closed. The strike release for the players of the beta is called the Inverted Spire and is an interesting one to say the least, but fun overall. You start on this trail and are led down where you face some Vex. Once you kill the Vex, your ghost gets to work on this spire looking thing. Then these magical floating platforms appear and you have to get across them as you make your way towards this air jumpy thing. Then you go boom and your ghost licks some Vex milk. You land, kill some more Vex, and go on another jumpy thing. When you get there, some jerk titan lures you to a teleporter which you are completely oblivious about and gets you to stand on it like an idiot. When you stand on the teleporter, you get sent all the way back to the beginning and have to do it all over again. Make your way back and now you have to jump down and navigate your way through a bunch of caves, killing tons of Vex and stealing their milk. Now the fun begins. You make it outside and run to some of the new enemies, members of the Red Legion. The first new enemy is the thick dude, that's with 2 C's, that goes by the name of Gladiator. He carries 2 flaming swords and he kills first and asks questions later. Then you kill some sniper scions and jump down the floating space magic platforms. If you're me, you probably died while navigating the floating islands because you suck at warlocks. Sooner or later you run into more gladiators, kill them, and make your way to a giant crater field. There you run into more Red Legion, a lot more. You meet the whole gang, War Beasts, Colossus, the Blood Guard, and the Shield guys, who I think are Honored Centurions or Impact Centurions, but I don't really know, so don't quote me on that. Beat them, and then your ghost goes crazy on some drill schematics. Toss a grenade, and you're good. Jump down, and some more thick dudes are waiting for you. Once you get rid of them, so to speak, your ghost goes ham again on some schematics, and more of those flaming balls of fury from the story mission come back to haunt you and your new pals. You fight a couple waves of those guys, and when you're done, you go through another boom boom. So many boom booms. You land, check to make sure you have all of your body parts, and run into someone you haven't seen in a while. How do you pronounce that? Incendior! You kill him and his friends and quickly move on to the next part, which is more space magic platforms. Gotta love space magic. Oh, those guys are phalanxes. Now the strike gets scary. The Cabal are mining with this huge drill for something that we don't know yet, so now you have to get across the dig site while killing bad guys and not getting touched by the drills, because if you do, you instantly die. Not that hard, really. Anyways, once you get across the drill site, you jump down and explore some more caves. Of course, your partners are super far behind because they're not as good as you, so you gotta sit there and wait for them to catch up. When they get there, you all jump down and shoot some harpies. This wakes the big guy up, but it's okay, you have teammates to help you. How hard can it be? Now this is the final boss, so you kill him and you're done. You get to play some PvP, which is what we all really got the beta for. When you get the boss, Protheon Modular Mind, low enough, he'll make the floor disappear and you'll fall about 10 stories, and yes, you can die. Part 2 of this fight is a little more difficult because he switches from a slow firing plasma cannon to a plasma Gatling gun. He also sets the floor on fire every once in a while for a short time, so be ready to jump or stand on a pillar so you don't burn. And periodically throughout the fight, he'll spawn a bunch of Vex to fight for him, so look out for them too because they're everywhere, and if you're too busy dealing with the boss, you'll get killed by them. So once again, you get him low enough and he makes the floor disappear. This is the final part of the battle, but be careful because the area around you is toxic, and if you all die, you'll have to start over. Protheon spawns a lot of Vex this round, and eventually you shoot his head off. I know, pretty cool, right? Wrong! When you do that, he spawns Fanatics, and if you remember the Vault of Glass raid from Destiny 1, you'll know those guys suck, so don't touch them. Once you finally kill Protheon, you are done. That's right, no more shooting, no more boom booms, and no more space magic. I'm really gonna miss that space magic. So overall, I think it was great. The map looked amazing and fresh. They took advantage of the new bad guys and used them to drive the story of the strike in a really well written way that made it fun and interactive, and I was genuinely impressed. The Destiny 2 PvP is where the beta really shines, and I think this is what most people were waiting for when the beta was announced. And man, did they deliver. The two game modes for the beta are Control and Countdown, both with different feels but similar focuses. The Control game mode requires you and your team to capture any of 3 zones, A, B, and C. For every zone your team has captured, that's how many points each kill is worth, and the first team to 75 points wins. The Countdown game mode is exactly like Search and Destroy. Each team has 4 players and each player has 1 life. The goal is for the attacking team to plant the bomb and for the defending team to defuse the bomb before it explodes. If the bomb explodes, the round is over. But if all players on any team dies before the bomb is planted, then the round ends. But if the attacking team plants the bomb and then all of their players die, the defensive team still has to defuse the bomb. First team to win 6 rounds is the winner. Now that the rules of each game are explained, I can talk to you about how I feel with each. Well, for starters, each game mode requires teamwork, and I think that was what Bungie was really going for with the new game. Have less players running around trying to make montages and have them help the team instead. When it comes to gunfights, I personally feel like each player was given more health or the guns were overall made weaker. Either way, the time to kill has very obviously went up, and that means that when you go out alone, it's harder to take on multiple enemies. What I'm basically saying is that if you go out alone, you're going to die easily. But when you stick with your team, you can pick people off one by one, and also stand a chance to hold territory. I also noticed that the objective is extremely important, and teamwork is a major key in that aspect too. You see, if all your team goes around killing the opposite team and no one takes the objective, but the other team does, the other team has a way better chance of winning. If you have no zones to their 3 zones, you can team 4 guys against one enemy all day and they'll still get up to 75 points first. Because for every point you get per kill, they get 3. The point is that teamwork and playing the objective are really important aspects of the PvP environment, and I feel like this beta did an amazing job of getting players to immediately understand that when first playing PvP. This affects the Countdown playlist immensely as well. You never want to split up and go to different sides, because if the opposing team doesn't do the same, you'll easily face a 2v4 or a 1v4 situation off the bat, which seems to be impossible to overcome, especially every round. So again, stay with your team because they are your key to survival. Also, at the end of each match, you are awarded with a piece of legendary armor or a weapon. The guns in Destiny 2 are a lot different than Destiny 1. Where hand cannons were superior, now they are strictly close range. Where auto rifles were severely underused, now they are probably the best type of gun in the beta. I say that because out of all the weapon types, auto rifles are the best with close range. And since the 2 PvP maps are small, that gives them a huge advantage. Scout rifles are in my opinion the weakest options in the beta. Even though they are still clearly the best choice for long distance encounters, they still seem to hit too soft for how fast they fire or too slow for how hard they hit. A buff to them would be nice. And finally, pulse rifles are really good. They're the most consistent weapon type out of all of them in a wide variety of situations. You would almost never have to switch from them to use another gun. They aren't as fast of a kill from close range as auto rifles or hand cannons, which feels right. In mid range they dominate, which also feels right. But in long ranges, I feel like they also dominate even over scout rifles. Now I don't know if this is because their range is too good, but I personally think it's because scout rifles are simply too bad. For secondary weapons, the sidearms seem to be virtually useless, but that's just my honest opinion, and I know we're talking about that garbage. Submachine guns is the new type of weapon that was introduced into Destiny 2. There are a couple types and only one of them can change from what seems to be the max fire rate of the subs, which is 900. And personally I like that specific one better because I feel like the other ones fire way too fast and have so much recoil. So I feel like if you gave them less recoil or made them a little slower, they could be very useful in Crucible. Also, all primaries can be secondaries. Not all secondaries can be primaries it seems, and a sub is both. But heavy weapons or power weapons can't be either. For power weapons, we have a sniper, shotgun, fusion rifle, linear fusion rifle, grenade launcher, and rocket launcher. Now before I say anything about power weapons, I have to mention that I have not used the rocket launcher, so I won't comment on that. But I do have experience with everything else. The sniper, in my opinion, is not as good as they were in Destiny 1. Its recoil is heavy, and for me to use it as a power weapon, I feel like it would have to be a little bit better. The shotgun is fun to use. More often than not, you require 2 shots to kill someone from Destiny 1 shotgun range, but at the end of the day, it still packs a punch and is really fun to run around with and kill people. It fires moderately fast and does good damage, so I think it's worth the power weapon slot. Next is the fusion rifle. What can I say about the fusion rifle? The thing is a bona fide monster. It's got ridiculous range and is by far the most fun power weapon to play with. The charge time is fair, the range is amazing, and the impact is ridiculous. Definitely worth the power weapon slot. The linear fusion rifle is not really catered towards PvP, or at least I don't think so, but it is extremely cool. It shoots a bullet, kind of like the Sleeper Simulant, which is really fun to use in game. Last is the grenade launcher. Now, even though it's a cool concept, I don't think it translates very well in game. Sure, when there are swarms of people, it'll get the job done, but I often find myself wasting all my shots on one or two guys in the Crucible game, so I don't really think it's worth the slot. Destiny 2 seems to have changed the overall balance of the Crucible and their weapons, which is really refreshing with how overused some weapons in Destiny 1 were. It's always nice to feel comfortable using guns that weren't very popular or good in the first game and use them here and excel. So good job, Bungie, you nailed it. Lastly, let's talk about the exotic weapons. As I said before, each class was given a class-specific weapon. The Hunter got the hand cannon called Sunshot, the Titan was given the Sweet Business auto rifle, and the Warlock was given the SMG named Risk Runner. Each weapon has its own intrinsic perk or exotic perk, and a set of unchangeable perks to go along with it. I found that all these weapons are pretty cool and fun to use. The Sunshot was actually really good for PvE, as was the Sweet Business. I felt like the Risk Runner was a little too chaotic to accurately use for either PvE or PvP, but I really did have fun using them all in the story mission though, so I can't wait to see what else Bungie has in store for us in the exotics department. Anyways, that's gonna have to be it for this video, guys. I worked almost 2.5 days putting all of this together, thumbnail and all. It was fun, it was tiring, time consuming, dehydrating, you can name it, and that's exactly what it was. But I am very happy with the final result, and I hope you guys liked it too. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, feel free to share with your friends and family. I would not mind that at all. Leave your feedback. What do you think about the new Destiny beta? What are your comments? What do you want to see in the actual game that's coming on September? Well, that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.